5:00, we're gonna get started.
Careful.
I'd like to call the meeting to order to our work session for this month, and we're just gonna review our agenda items as always. We have first the meetings of the power board meetings, minutes, and you all have had a chance to review those in our packets we received last week. Are there any comments on the minutes? Did anyone find anything that needed to be changed? And if there's nothing on that, we'll just go on down to Eric's financial report.
Since I won't be here on Thursday, I'm just going to go through the financials. I've also recorded my presentation, and Sherry will be playing that during the meeting, but I'll go through these so it gives you an opportunity to ask some questions. Just start out with revenues. This month, our beginning balance is about $16.8 million. We had revenues of about $2.2 million. That's down about $30,000 from last month. Our federal dollars are down about $211,000. However, state are up by $300,000. Taxes are up by $34,000. Other revenue is up by $50,000. Food service is down by $199,000 compared to the previous month, and daycares are up $1,000. So the total security is about $19 million. Also, revenues in comparison to the same period last year are down about $272,000. So $85,000 of that is in SEEK revenue, and then just other various places is where the other shortfall is. In terms of expenses, this month in accounts payable, we have about $1.187 million. Just fund expenses about $524,000. We had a significant debt service payment that we had in board bills last month, if you recall. It was $534,000. And then food service at $128,000. Payroll was at about $2.662 million for a total of expenses of $3.8 million. Accounts payable is down about $267,000 from October of last year, and that was mainly in construction costs that we don't have this year. Payroll is almost exactly 3% over the October 2016 payroll, so we're trending right in line with where we're supposed to be. The payroll breakdown, gross pay was $2.393 million. Deductions of $850,000 roughly, which resulted in a net pay of $1.5 million. Taxes paid out were $425,000. KTRS payments approximately $296,000. CERS payments $153,000. Insurance is about $87,000, and other payments $158,000, thus resulting in the $2.662 million. The accounts payable breakdown. Excuse me. The fix and mix expenses accounted for about 3/4 of the expenses at $877,000. In that, there was the $534,000 debt service payment. Variable expenses were at 17.67%, and it's about $214,000. And utilities expenses at 10%, which is really where we hover around every month in terms of our overall expenses. That's $123,000. That accounts payable breakdown, the $1.2 million. General fund was $490,000. Fund 2 was about $60,000. Debt service is at $534,000, and food service is about $130,000. The cash close at the end of the month was in liquid cash, so it's about $6.6 million, which is again right in line with what we were trying to achieve when we did our investment strategy. Which left the general fund investment of $8.5 million. 8 of it is in CDs, and the $520,000 is in the JP Morgan funds that are for the Greenville Elementary Library. So with the total balance being about $15.1 million, and that's down just a touch. So the breakdown of that 15.1 million, 600,000 of that was general fund. That's a reduction of about 727,000 from the previous month. Special revenue or Fund 2 is at almost $63,000. That's down about 117,000. Construction has remained unchanged at about $1 million. Debt service, again, it's going to continue to stay in that negative until we settle up at the end of the year. When we do our closeout, that's negative 621,000, and it's down 534,000, which is the exact amount of the payment. Food service at 82,000. That's down $237,000. Once we, that's on the timing of payments. Once that payment gets received, the fund balance will go back up. Daycare went up about a little over $400, and the other two remain unchanged. For again, a total of 15.1 million. That's down about 1.6. So, cash flow needs through the end of March 2018. We expect that balance to be about 14.5 million. I budgeted to receive the TVA payment in February. Last year we received it in January. I just wanted to, it fluctuates, so I just wanted to give us that buffer. But I don't foresee any issues with that. So, are there any questions? On the board bills?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. This month for board bills, I'm bringing about $257,000 in total. About 230 that is general fund. Fund 2 is about 28,000, and food service is a little over $300. The checks of significance this month is a check to Gershwin Entertainment Group, and that is for $7,500, and that was for a Martin Hall performance.
Fire safe hood cleaning, $5,100.
That's a expense we have to have just every year.
Right, but I mean, I know where we've done like the fire extinguisher company.
Mm-hmm.
So this is separate from that?
Yes, ma'am.
Credit card, First Bank Services, it says First Bank card.
Mm-hmm.
There's two different entries. Do you ever offer a detailed report on what exactly is being purchased?
We can. Most of them are for school purchases, but I'd be glad to get that for you.
And $613 to the attorney. What was that about? I didn't receive any sort of email about anything. I don't know if anyone reached out to the attorney. I hadn't seen it.
The only thing I've sent them something regarding a fee that we were assessed for the city of Powderly, but various people in the office use the attorney services, so
Okay.
I'll be glad to get you that breakdown as well.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I just know something, I guess, last month and this month, and just not having any sort of reference to it, I just thought I would ask to see what it was pertaining to, please.
Sometimes that'll be a personnel type thing.
Okay. Like, for instance, Ace Supply. I mean, is that for
Those
the
are for-
maintenance department?
Those are
or-
repairs to the schools, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Same as Malone Lumber? And they just get that from their budget, is this correct?
Correct.
Based on our allocation, what we allocate them?
Yeah, that's based on what was budgeted for them every year in the working budget.
Okay.
That does not come from their site-based money, that comes from district funds.
District funds. And all the Walmart purchases, that would be the same as SPDMs from the schools, or?
They are from various places. The Friskies use that card, schools
Okay.
use the card, so.
And Premier Integrity Solutions, what do they do for us, please?
That is the urinalysis.
Okay.
Is there anything else? School bills, does anyone have any questions on those, the school financials?
How much funds that you all can not use without our board approval?
In terms of
Isn't there an amount that you all can use?
up to $20,000, $19,999.
Okay, I just didn't know if you would need an approval for everything.
Anything over 5,000 is, I always will at least contact
Okay.
Ms.
Just
Raker
wanna
and let
make
her
sure.
know up to 5 we can.
Alright, if there's nothing else, we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Chairman, regular board members, just have a couple of things that we'll do tonight, and then obviously I'll do some different things on Thursday. But first, I'm going to ask Ms. Johnson. Gail's going to come and talk about Muhlenberg Achieves, a program that she's working on that we're pretty excited about.
Thank you, Superintendent Davis.
Thank you.
I have a few folders here that I think you all might
Great,
be
thank you.
interested in. It's good to take and read, and then when I hit the highlights, you can refer back to that, and maybe you'll have some more information if you have questions. And if you, as always,
I like
you
that
need to, aren't those cute? Students really like those too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I welcome you to contact me anytime you have a question. So, thank you all so much for inviting me to come tonight and share a little bit about Muhlenberg Achieves. I want to take this opportunity to tell you all the good things that are going on in the high school right now and getting our seniors college and career ready, and also what we plan to do to help them as they transition from high school to college and career training, and through that all-important first semester of post-secondary or college. So one important goal of Muhlenberg Achieves is to be part of the support system for our seniors. And I'm really, really excited about the working relationship that we've established with our high school. And I want to especially thank Ms. Donna Bumps and Ms. Beth Fleming. Ms. Fleming's our new guidance counselor, for all that they are doing to inform our seniors for the opportunities that lie ahead. And I'd like to call your attention to the handouts that outlines just a few of the highlights of events that we have either already provided for the seniors or that are upcoming. And there's a list with this little picture here. And I'm just going to share a few of those. Like I said, I know you all don't want to be here while I read through all these lists, but I did want to provide this information for you because I think it's important. But we took a group on a Saturday, September the 9th, which also happened to be an ACT test date. But 27 of our juniors and seniors decided that it was important enough for them to get up very early on a Saturday morning and go with us to Louisville on a guided tour of the University of Louisville's campus. It was a private guided tour. We made special arrangements with them to go on that tour. We dined at the Ville Grill, and Macy Mays, one of our former students, she was one of our hosts, our guest hosts that day, and it was just a fantastic day. And then from there, we traveled on to the only national National College Fair in the state of Kentucky, which happened to be at Bellarmine that same afternoon. So we were able to do two things in that one event, and it was a real special day. And there were like 115 colleges that were present there that day. And I heard students say real things like, I can't believe I'm this close to graduation, and wow, this is getting real. So, having the kids to step foot on those campuses and see and hear from someone else about college and about their expectations and what they provide and different majors and so forth, it's really important. And we're real proud to be able to be a part of that. We've also hosted some informative seminars for juniors and seniors featuring our KIA representative, which we've become very good friends with. His name is Johnny Bergman, and he speaks straight talk to the students about the cost of college and the steps that it takes towards being accepted into college. He also made sure that they understood that most jobs will require some form of post-secondary education, whether it's just some college or one or a 2-year degree or 4-year or career training certification, work certificates. The College and Career Fair that's hosted every year by the high school in September was just amazing. It's always a great day when 30-plus colleges come, and then we have 30-plus businesses there also to share and to visit with our juniors and seniors. Then in October, we launched this big PR campaign entitled Muhlenberg Applies to College. And this year, we've really embraced the concept of getting the entire community engaged in the college and career training process, which we believe is a critical piece in changing the culture toward higher education in Muhlenberg. And therefore, we added it as one of our goals, and Muhlenberg Achieves. Hopefully you noticed one or both of the two banners that are strategically placed in downtown Central City and Greenville on the woodshed on the walking trail. And those are our kids that are featured on those banners. And the sign just reads something like, ask us about our future plans, because it's really important that we talk to kids about what their plans are for the future and get them to thinking about it. We also had our judge, Executive Rick Newman, to proclaim October as Muhlenberg Applies to College Month. In addition, we're spotlighting 2 seniors each week in our local newspapers, and the students just love this recognition as we're featuring their photos along with their post-secondary plans. Last week, you may have seen Mr. Perkins' daughter, Olivia, and we learned that she has not quite yet decided on a college, but she knows she wants to be an attorney and maybe someday own her own practice. So we're proud of all of our kids, and we feature kids regardless of their post-secondary pathway that they choose. We just want them to head in a direction, and we want to recognize and celebrate that. We launched our PR campaign this year by having, everybody knows Derek Anderson, right? He's a former UK standout and an NBA All-Star as well. And he shared his gut-wrenching, and I do mean gut-wrenching, story about his rag to riches experience, giving credit to the fact that he did not allow the hardships of his life to define him. His message to the group was that we can all overcome adversity by making a commitment to get better each and every day. And his autobiographical book entitled Stamina is available in bookstores today. The students were so honed in on him, you could have heard a pin drop, and word soon traveled to both of our middle schools, and they were contacting me, asking me how they could have him to speak with their students. So Ms. Bumps stepped up, and she offered East Campus's gym. And today, as a matter of fact, both middle schools and our 9th and 10th grades were able to hear him share that same message. And during the past few weeks, Ms. Fleming has hosted some 10 or more college and career training representatives, just inviting students to visit in small groups with these representatives during college and career readiness period. And I know that this has been very effective to get students excited about college and career training. I know during the College and Career Fair, part of my presentation included having each senior complete a survey, which included the question, what are your plans immediately following graduation? And we had like more than 9 or 10 boys say that they were going to Lincoln Diesel, and that's in Nashville. And I knew that a Lincoln Diesel representative had just been there just a few days before to speak to our students. So there's some proof that these strategies of having these colleges come to us and speak to our kids in small groups, these strategies are working. We've also held 3 FAFSA, which stands for financial aid, federal aid. But we've had 3 events in October, the month of October. And October is when a window opens for the new year, for the fall of 2018. And we assisted more than 56 students in those 3 events. And on parent night, which was open house, we had a full house, and we were real proud of that. So we plan to hold more financial aid completion events during the second semester, and we want to help as many kids as we can as they navigate that financial aid online process. Sometimes it's a little difficult, particularly if the parent has not, before been through that process. At the end of the school year, we're going to wrap it up with recognizing all of our seniors who are making plans to further their education, whether they plan to pursue a 2 or 4 year degree, to get a work certificate, or to join the military. This day will be called College Decision Day. It's inspired by NCAA's National Signing Day, which reinforces that education in the classroom should be given as much or more attention and recognition as athletic excellence, something I've thought should have happened for a long time. This event will be well publicized as we again strive to create a college-going culture in Muhlenberg County. As you know, all the funding for Muhlenberg Achieves Post-Secondary Success Program is provided by the Felix E. Martin Jr. Foundation. This year's grant included funding to have a Kentucky college coach. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to meet Miss Brittany Daubert before, but she is just graduated from the University of Kentucky, and she's a former Muhlenberg County High School graduate, and she's working full-time as a Kentucky college coach under the supervision of our high school guidance counselors. And that's also something that is new this year that was provided under this grant by the Martin Foundation. Another key feature of Muhlenberg Achieves is our e-coaching program. In January, we're going to begin recruiting our students for the program. Currently, we're in the process of recruiting e-coaches. If you'll notice in your packets, I included a little half sheet there where if you want to be part of this program, we would love to have you. We would just love to have you. Our plan is to have like 100 students this year and to match them with 50 e-coaches, so that means you'd have 1 to 2 students per e-coach. And the time commitment is like 10 hours a year. It's really minimal when you think about what you're able to do. And what happens is, through e-coaching, I will feed you. First of all, we'll do training, and then we'll have a face-to-face meeting where you'll get to meet your students. And then after that, I will provide you through texting information that you can share with them in a timely manner, so that they will know the dates and timelines and so forth that they need to know to be successful in enrolling and then through their first semester of college until they've enrolled successfully in their second semester. So we got this idea from Tennessee. We went to Tennessee to learn about this, and it's just working really well in Tennessee. However, they are able to pay for students to go to college if they sign up for their program, and we don't have that option here. So we have a little harder time recruiting students, but yet it's coming along, and I'm sure that we'll get more and more students as they become more familiar with the amount of help that we're able to provide them. We've tried to make this program as convenient as possible so that even the busiest executive can be an e-coach. E-coaches, like I said, we keep it to a minimum. We protect your privacy. Your personal information is not shared. We do this through a monitored texting system. And we will, like I said, if it all goes well and you develop a relationship with your student, you have any questions or so forth, you can contact me at any time. If I don't have the answer, I certainly have a network of people that I can go to. So. Muhlenberg Achieves this year has added a summer bridge program in collaboration with Madisonville Community College. And so during the month of June, the students who score beneath ACT benchmarks in reading, language arts, and math will be able to offer them free classes 4 days a week from 9 to 1, 2 hours of language arts and reading and 2 hours of math. And at the close of that session, they can be tested to see if they qualify for exemption, so they don't have to start out college in remediation classes, which don't count for credit. And then if need be, we can go into July for our students who need additional instruction. They've agreed to do that. It's absolutely no cost to the students. So we work out all those details. Another thing that we've added is summer melt. I don't know, this was a new concept to me, but until I started in this job. But unfortunately, across the country, there are like 10 to 40% of high school graduates who have jumped through all the hurdles. They have their financial aid in order. They've enrolled, their applications, everything's all set. They've even registered for classes, but they don't show up on the first day. So it's called summer melt, and it's a real problem nationwide. So as program manager, one thing that I do, I did this last summer, and I found it to be effective. I plan to continue doing it. It's just contacting students one-on-one and just with a list of things that they need to have in place in order to be ready, and just personalized to their school that they've told me that they will be attending, and just check off those things so that we can provide more intensive support for those who need it. This is a proven strategy that works. Like I said, this is not just a problem here. This is a problem nationwide, but this is one of the ways that we have planned and have already incorporated in our program. As I said before, 100% of this program is the Muhlenberg Achieves budget, which exceeds $110,000, includes funding for and that includes some funding for the Kentucky College Coach, is paid in full by the Martin Foundation. And another Martin-funded grant that promotes college and career readiness is the Work Ready Communities Grant. And I just wanted to mention that too, that it's a $50,000 grant, and it's doing wonderful things are happening through that grant as well. This funding provides opportunities for students grades K through 12 to go on field trips where they can experience workplaces and college campuses firsthand. This grant also pays for some dual credit courses in addition to the funding that goes toward college and career fairs. As you can see, the Martin Foundation is fully committed to supporting and furthering the educational attainment of the youth in Muhlenberg County. And like I said, anyone in this room, I'm going to be knocking on doors and calling people and doing the recruitment, because we know that e-coaching works. It's proven to work in other states. We may be the first in Kentucky to be doing it, and I'm proud of that. But I'm sure there will be others to follow suit. But we know that if we have somebody that's interested in a young person and is willing to build a relationship with them and then answer their questions as needed, and that we know that this system works, and we look forward to having a successful e-coaching program this year, and would love to have each and every one of you, any of you. I know you're busy people, but even the busiest executive can be one. So thank you so much.
Thank
Do you have any questions or?
Thank you, and thank you, the Martin Foundation, for your support of the school system.
Thank you so much, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
One other thing on the superintendent's report that may need to become an agenda item, if this is something that interests you. Tim Abbott called Friday morning, I think it was, wasn't it, Tim, with a pretty unique opportunity he just found out about. And that's with the school bus program, where I'm going to let Tim talk about it on Kim 1 here in just a second, a little bit more, but basically, pretty unique opportunity to save quite a bit on school buses, and we could get 3 for the price of what we had budgeted for 2, and I'll let Eric speak to that when the time comes. But to sum it up, the way I understood it, it sounded like a little bit like the Cash for Clunkers deal a few years back when I got my truck, because I usually try to keep them 15 or 20 years, and I couldn't afford not to trade it in, and it just seems like a pretty great opportunity, but we have to move on it kind of quickly. And so that's why it's not already on the agenda as far as having talked to. We just found out about it. So, Tim, if you would, or Kim 1, if you wouldn't mind, speak to it just a little bit.
Well, what it boils down to is Detroit Diesel put some Mercedes engines in several buses. You've heard us talk about those in the past. They didn't meet emissions. They lied about it, I suppose. They got a big, huge fine. And they had to supply the country, United States, with 350 buses at a rebate of 35%, whatever that figures out to be. So it had to reach a certain poverty level in the county. It had to reach 500 students, I believe it was. There were several criteria that we had to meet, and we do meet those. The state of Kentucky got 20 buses across the state. We were allowed 5. By the time I talked to Eric, and the time it was all said and done, it got narrowed down to 4 slots, and by the time I worked it out, I got down to 3. So I was put in for 3 buses. The stipulation is we have to destroy 3 old buses that go 97 past, over the 97. Of course, we have 11 buses that meet that. So we have to destroy the engine in those buses. But anyway, it's a 35% discount off the cost of a bus, which is tremendous amount of money. I think we quoted the buses at, what did we end up with there?
$189,119.
For 3 buses, so
3 buses.
basically you're getting 3 for the price of 2.
So is there any paperwork on this that I can look at?
I do have paperwork.
Was there,
And you can forward.
so why do we have to act on it so quick?
Because like I said, I put it, there was 20 Friday morning and it got narrowed down to 3 as of this morning.
They wanted them ordered by Wednesday, is
They
what they
won't.
wanted, and we told them.
And this is the state, KDE?
This is through,
The bus manufacturer.
through Wayne Supply, Thomas Built Buses. They were the ones responsible for it.
So when did they make everyone aware of it? So everyone's not participating in a fire drill?
Like I said, there was only so many counties that met it, and they contacted me Friday morning, and I jumped on the opportunity.
So I budgeted $210,000 for 2 buses. This, we're getting 3 buses at $189,000, which is a $20,000 savings. Last year when we sold this, was it 6 buses or 5?
There is the printout, we print out enough of them for everybody.
We sold 6 buses and we received $10,000 for all 6 of them. We're receiving approximately $30,000 for each of these buses, so it's a very good deal.
So will you put that together so we can look at it?
I did put a decision paper that was sent out on Friday.
Okay.
Did you give them a quote on the bus with air and without?
I did without air. The only difference in the decision paper and this is that I had,
Did y'all get the quotes on those?
I did not have the driver air conditioning on it, which is an additional $2,000. So I think the figure that I sent out to you is $186,000. It's $2,000 for each bus, but at a 35% savings, the total additional cost would be $3,900. Thus the $189,000 that you see in front of you. Then, so really, essentially, you're getting 3 buses for less than the cost of 2.
So you had budgeted 210, right?
I budgeted $210,000. So
These would be in, Tim, what, they would come in May, I guess.
If we get them ordered by Friday, they'll be here by May.
Yes.
If
Again,
not,
that's-
then you get put on whatever, you know.
That's the pleasure of the board, but that would need to be added as an agenda item Thursday if you choose to do
Yeah,
so.
to the agenda item.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's,
it's a very economical purchase.
and it's an apples to apples kind of thing, isn't it, Tim? I mean, Tim, this is not anything,
No.
cut rate, anything we're
No.
missing.
No. I mean, I would prefer to have the international buses. The 6 we got this year are top notch. We love them, the drivers love them. But when you can get a 35% discount, you know, gotta jump on it.
Especially coming in what's already been budgeted for it, so it seems like it's just
Win-win.
a great opportunity.
So how do we destroy an engine?
I have to put a chemical, I drain the oil, put a chemical in it, and run it till it quits. Either that or.
Is that
crush
a-
it. And they have to be here to witness that.
Now, we can sell the body of the bus.
Yeah, the body can be
The engine will be
resold.
destroyed, but we can sell the body. And we think that the person that purchased our last buses, that he would be interested in the body of the buses that, you know, we have left over.
We have 2 '89 models still in the fleet, so that'd be 2 of the 30.
I think I rode that one in high school.
Funny.
Jokingly, they were brand new when I started.
Not
I hate to see them go.
They're going to be in Central City's car show next year.
Yeah, next to my husband's
Classic
truck.
category.
But they are Bluebird bodies, which will bring top price on the market, so even with or without the engine, so that's one advantage.
Thank you, Tim.
Hate to destroy a good engine, but that's just part of it.
Any other questions? And that's what I have for my superintendent's report for this evening.
Thank you.
That's it? Nothing else for Thursday?
For Thursday, I'll have more.
Oh, okay.
Yes. We'll have our principals and some other things on Thursday.
Right.
Okay, personnel actions. Thanks, there she is. High five.
You're going to listen
Haven't seen
closely.
you. Any questions on the personnel actions? I think she'll go over that on Thursday, so there's really no need to.
Well, one of the agenda items is hiring someone at Martin Hall. Is this right?
Yes.
But now, it looks like in the personnel actions that has already taken place. Is that right?
No.
Not
Do you
this
see what,
job.
do you see what I'm
Yeah,
looking
There's a
at?
technical director there. This will be the executive director. It's a different position.
Okay, so, but we're taking that person from the tech wing, to work at Martin Hall as the technical director, is that right? I'm just going by what was,
Thomas T.
well, I'm just going by what was posted on
That's correct.
the jobs, was listed as a job.
He's taken the technical director, but we still have the discussion for the executive. Is that-
Yes. And we can loop back to this if you need to. That's however you want to go about it.
Well, I just don't know, I mean, it says automotive teacher now will be listed on the job site, which we haven't hired for that yet.
It's effective
So-
January 1st. I want to interpret for Ms. Browning, you can't hear it, but it is effective, that person is effective January 1st.
Well, I just didn't know, I was thinking, maybe we're robbing Peter to pay Paul, taking one person here and then leaving that open. I mean, I don't know how many kids are enrolled in the automotive program.
That position is posted.
Mr. Teague just chose to apply for an open position.
Well, I understand, I just, like I said, then there's students that are left without an instructor, I guess, right?
Ideally, no, because the
Not till
position's
January.
posted and they'll be there until January.
Oh, so we're confident
At
we'll
which
hire.
time,
We're
we hope to
confident
have
we
someone hired.
Okay.
Start date is January 1st.
So hopefully no kids go without and we just come out, it's a win-win.
Okay, is there anything else on personnel actions? And the attendance report? Mr.
Freeman here.
Attendance? Mr. Attendance?
Freeman here.
It was not good, but when I ran the year numbers, it was not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but we're below, we were at 94, I think 2.3 for the month. Even our elementary was really, it's dropping. When I run the truancy reports, it's really weird when you do the truancy reports, there's not near as many kids on the list. It's just more people are missing, and there's a lot more doctor's excuses this year than we've had. We got another stomach virus going around, we've had several, but it's, Mr. Davis and I continue to touch base. The principals are working hard, they're doing more things than they've ever done. But when our new month started, our fourth month started this past week, and we were doing really good, and then Friday hit and we bottomed out. So, but we are above our fourth month last year, which is a good sign. It could have really been good if we'd had a good Friday. So I'm monitored every day, and truancy numbers are not close to where they were in the last 2 or 3 years, and we're just having more kids miss. And so, continuing going, I met with 3 kids today, still doing home visits, and I think that it's just what I was concerned about is our first 2 months are usually our best months, but I'm thankful and hopeful that our next months are going to be better than the past, will help make that difference up a little bit. So I've talked with other DPPs, we're all concerned. There's a couple of districts that are just up slightly, and then you got some that are even worse than us. I mean, it's not just us, it's all around, so. Anyway. But I'll have more specifics as far as that. Enrollment, pretty much the same as far as the previous month, which is good. We're still, obviously, we're still in that category of We're seeing a big difference in enrollment this month, or the third month compared to last year's third month. But that's going to start to decline a lot because of, as far as the gap will narrow, because the second semester we won't be as down as much. But compared to the first semester last year, we are. I think it was about 160 compared to the third month last year. So I think it was around 90 for the end of the school year, which I still like to keep y'all up as far as where we are at the end of the year. So more specifics when I do my report, but wish I had good news, but it's not what I should be.
Thank you. Is there other things going on, I mean, besides stomach virus that I've been asked several times about kids with flu, I mean, being in the clinic setting, and, you know, I mean, as far as I know, our clinic has only seen one positive flu for
I have not heard
a
of
middle
it.
schooler, and, you know, I know parents and grandparents have come and said, oh, I heard the flu's bad in the schools again, and I'm like, well, you know, I mean,
Started from a
a lot of people have a runny nose and say it's the flu, and it's
I've not heard the flu
not
yet.
actually the
I've
flu.
heard stomach virus, we've had 2 or 3, and then the respiratory,
Yes.
we've had that, but I have not heard of any.
We had somebody at the bank, they said tested positive. for
We've had
flu.
positive, but we've only had one student that I know of. All the rest of them have been adults that we've had, you know, so that's when you hear the one student, I'm thinking, oh goodness, you know, here we go, so.
As Lee said, that's what's extra worrisome is typically the worst months are coming. And we're already, you know, not doing as well as we would like, so it's a little scary.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Freeman? Okay, we're down for, discussion of the dates for the December board meeting.
Yes, as I put in my weekly update, I think so, last week, our next board meeting and work session is actually during the time when we're off. The kids are off at least. Sometimes that's where maybe principals or other administrators or some folks may take some days to, you know, if they're going to use some of their days to go somewhere. So I'll be here regardless. But if you want to consider moving that up a week, it just may be worth the discussion. I think we've been assured that everything can be in on time and, you know, you can get the reports that you need. But again, that's the pleasure of the board there.
Okay. I think that was my question, you know, prior to when you told me about it was, could everybody get everything turned
Right,
in
and then
for us?
that's,
And
Sherry, you've talked to ask as well. I think we're good with that, so
Okay.
whatever you'd like to do.
Okay. So, any questions?
When can we expect our auditor?
December,
present?
December.
should be December.
Do you have a date for that?
The board meeting in
meeting.
December. Whichever one we choose, I assume. Whichever Thursday that would be. Or, yeah, Thursday,
I
we'll do that
think
on
it's better
Thursday.
off to move 1 week in advance, that way everybody be on the board. If it's close to Christmas, I don't know.
Does he know the 20, is he aware that we would move it up to the 14th?
He said he can work with whatever date we give him.
Okay, so there wouldn't be a need for a special called meeting then?
No.
Great.
No.
And it's good news, so I'm glad to have him.
You want to bring him down tonight? Okay. So the next thing, approving required civics test for all high school students, Senate Bill 159.
Yeah, I'll cover this one. As we shared, or I shared out in the decision paper, it's pretty straightforward, really. Starting next year, all the kids have to pass the civics test. It's created using questions from the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services test. They must pass with a 60% in order to graduate. It's a new part of Senate Bill 1. So the high school social studies teachers have done that job. I went ahead and included that for you to take a look at. But it does take formal action, that you will have to go ahead and approve that on Thursday if you choose to do so, which would be great, because then that would let Ms. Bumps and the teachers start testing all the kids. That way we can just do a sweep of all of them and because we don't have to wait until they're seniors, we can test them earlier than that. So she can start testing all the kids and marking off which ones are passed, and then kind of narrowing the funnel to work with the kids that might be struggling to pass some of those questions. Does that make sense, that last part right there? Okay.
So what's the earliest they can take it? I mean, before
Friday.
graduation?
They can start on Friday. You can pass it on Thursday.
Okay. But I mean, like, do they have to be in high school to take it, you're saying?
No, I don't even think.
Or can they
have to
even be,
in high
like,
school. I think they
younger?
can take it in 8th grade, actually. Ms. Phelps, did you read any of that?
I don't recall reading
I-
that, but I'll be more than happy to look
Yeah,
that up.
I'm almost positive they can. Most districts are doing it at the high school level because the curriculum matches, and there's a variety of ways they can do it. It's completely local decision-making at the high school as far as how they want to give it. They can give it in small chunks, they can give it all at once. They've decided to go ahead and give it as a 100-question test. There's plenty of opportunities for them to do it in class or different things. If you'd like, I could ask you a few of the questions. Who was the president during both the Great Depression and World War II?
I
A.
wasn't
Harry
aware.
Truman, B. Calvin Coolidge, C. Woodrow Wilson, or D. Franklin Roosevelt?
Or C, consider the textbook plan.
We can work together.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good
So,
idea.
just having a little bit of fun. It is a good test for the kids, and there's some good knowledge that they need to have.
So they just take it one time?
They can take it as many times as they want.
No. I mean, like, if they pass it the first time,
Yeah.
they just take it one time between being a freshman to graduating as a senior. Is this correct?
That's correct.
So if they take it as an 8th grader,
Requirement for
would that,
graduation.
if they take it as an 8th grader, would it count?
Yeah.
It would?
Every kid who graduates has to pass this test that you approve if you choose so on Thursday. Now, there could be some changes if there's different presidents elected and things like that too.
So what's the answer?
Oh, I don't know.
So when the questions change, or whoever is responsible for the questions, then does it have to come before the board again every time?
Not really. I don't think that.
Like our U.S. representative, when that changes, or if it ever changes,
Yeah.
then again, the
That's
answer
a
is.
question that we haven't had the answer to yet. KDE hasn't really shared what they want to do with that. They just give guidance to us in order to keep us within the law, which is what we're doing right now. But if that happens, we will more than likely revisit it.
Gotta follow the law.
Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
All right, consider the textbook plan for Muhlenberg North Middle School.
Yes,
Penny, there you are.
this is a standard textbook request. They're combining last year's funds, what they had left over from that, with this year's funds, which, were cut in half after they'd already been given funds. But anyway, the only thing is I am working on a couple issues, just so you know, but I feel like it'll be resolved by Thursday's board meeting. One is our server's not communicating with the state server or vice versa, and so I can't get the information to upload to the state. The second thing is on the price list that I've been given. On one price list, it shows the reduced amount that we're getting the textbooks for, but the grand total doesn't match what the textbook plan has on it. And then we have one version of it where the textbook portion that we're paying does match, but then the total doesn't match. So I'm working on that, trying to get that resolved from the textbook company itself. Actually, Mr. Rager's working on that. So I think those two issues will be resolved and everything will be approved by the state by Thursday.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now, discuss creation of a position, Martin Hall Executive Director / Community Arts Coordinator at Felix Martin Hall.
And Chairman Reagan, if it's okay, I'm gonna kind of go through D and E kind of together, because they kind of go together. And Ms. Jacoby, I'm quite confident be willing to jump in here and help us out with this a little bit. What they're proposing to do is to take Mr. Provost's position, I think what was initially intended, and basically was to have two positions, an executive director and a technical director. And I don't know it quite as well as Ms. Jacoby, but basically the technical director is, I think, more behind the scenes, get the lights ready, get things ready kind of person. Executive director is the more upfront, ticket sales, promotion. Am I okay so far?
You are.
I'm gonna let you fill in the blanks here in a second. And so the Felix Martin Foundation is proposing to fully fund that second position, the executive director position. But what that does, how that will affect the district would then pick up the half of a position, the person who's doing the community arts now, because the executive director would also be working with the community arts. So the person who is doing that now and working half the time in the school system would be coming back full-time to the school system and adding vocal arts to the high school. Again, Ms. Bumps, I think, maybe can jump in on this if I'm not saying it correctly. So, want to make sure you understand, Martin Foundation would be fully funding the one, but the cost of the district, and the kids will be served by all of this, obviously. The cost of the district, instead of being basically half-time, they would be picking up the district would be picking up full-time positions. You'd be adding a half-time position, neighborhood of 25 to 28,000, I think is what it would end up costing the district. So I see a lot of good things coming from this. The Martin Hall would have, would be able to basically expand on what's already been going on, because it has been growing exponentially, and been able to add a little more vocal arts to our high school students as well. So both of those kind of go hand in hand. What would need to be done, if you so choose to do that, would be creating, again, that full-time position, which Martin Foundation would fund, and a half-time position on top of the already half that we have, which the district would fund.
Just if I may, that will
Yes.
also, not just the vocal program, but it'll also allow us to continue with our drama program, which
Thank
is
you.
a very important piece to our students and also to our
Thank
community,
you.
because that is what Muhlenberg County is all about.
Thank you. And Kathy, anything, go ahead and fill anything that maybe I didn't say exactly right. Anything else you want to add?
No, the cost, the additional cost would be, we've been funding 25,000 to do 50%, so it would mean that we would not be paying 25,000 for Melanie Smith's
So it would be
position.
25,000
Yeah,
difference.
so that would,
And I do want to say this, maybe this is not time as you're considering it, but I don't know if Ms. Jacoby will be back with us Thursday or when she will be back, but I am going to say this. She has been obviously a big player in what's been going on at Martin Hall and with the district, and she is retiring in December. And so I want to take a moment now, because I don't know when we're going to have you back again. She's had a big hand in a lot of good things that's going on here, and we very much appreciate you. We don't even have to vote on that. That's
Thank you very
unanimous.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Am I correct, Melanie, what she's been doing this in the high school as a volunteer basis right now? With the
Well, she's in the
chorus?
middle schools. She has
She
between.
actually starts her day at the middle school. She does North Middle, South Middle, then she does her community arts, and then sixth period, she's a teacher. So she's already teaching. This would now just make her a full-time teacher.
Okay.
and for perspective, when the board approved that position 5 years ago, she started out by alternating between one middle school, one grade term, then to the next middle school, the next grade term. And that plus the community chorus involving the middle school students was the extent of her school involvement. Because of her commitment to the kids, she now is going to North Middle and South Middle and the high school
find you
in a
out.
half-time job. So she has gone way above and beyond, in our opinion, and she should be allowed to just do that full-time, because that's what she's doing.
So overall, this position, she'll make $50,000. 25 from us and 25 from Martin. Is that right?
No.
Okay.
We will not, we have been for the last 5 years, we have been contributing $25,000
Okay.
to her position.
Okay.
I have no idea what you all have been contributing.
And we're not allowed to discuss her
I just,
compensation.
there was a grant that we made to the school board for $25,000 since it was created. When the position was created, the school board at the time was very concerned that they would want her to move to full-time before the grant agreement was out. So we have the grant agreement set up where both parties agree that can be altered, because that was very much the intent, was to get her in the middle schools more than half-time.
So the extra cost to the district would be the 25,000 that they would no longer be contributing.
The additional cost is going to be whatever that 25,000 is in where she falls in the salary schedule.
And I just want to say, I've had firsthand experience with the drama, not as much the chorus program, but I've seen students that have participated in it, how they've grown, where they maybe not fit in with the sports or, the other programs. I think it's very important. I think this decision paper really, you put it in black and white, you see how the Martin Hall has contributed to the community and to the school system. Over 300 events,
And
Is that what it says? It says over 300 events a year?
Yes.
Is that what it is? Over 300 events a year?
Yes.
Wow.
I think I attached the Alyssa Manning's kind of summary that she did a nice job explaining it, their part as well.
And I think with the untimely death of Mr. Probus, I think it came to light what all was involved in the two positions being needed, just from what I had picked up on, that he did a lot.
He did.
He was there all the time.
Are there any other questions or discussion on these items?
Just to clarify, so there'll be an executive director, the community arts coordinator. What else is at Felix Martin Hall? What else is
Technical director, which is
There will be
Mr.
two
Teague.
positions, Ms. Bell. There will be a technical director.
Okay.
And an executive director who his job will encompass the community arts work that Ms. Smith has been doing today.
Okay, so there'll be 3.
No, ma'am, there will be 2. There will be a technical director and an executive director.
The executive
Okay.
director will take the community arts as
Okay.
part of that job.
So, okay. So then, any like custodian, we have to take care of that, right?
Well, there is a custodian that's not being impacted by this
Okay.
change. So this changes from basically the Martin Foundation paying for 1.5 positions to paying for 2 positions.
Okay. Do you have an idea how many volunteers we have that help participate for these programs? Like with 300 events a year, it's
Those are all types of events. I mean, they're school assemblies, they are speakers that come in for the juniors and seniors. They're the public programs that go on.
Graduations.
MCTIs, programs that are held there. So each of those kind of has separate volunteers. I think for the public shows, I think there's about 30 people that volunteer there. I'm not sure for MCTI. I know it's a bunch. Y'all might know better than me how many people it takes to do an intern.
And the intern program, that's a great thing, the school intern program. I know one student that, did the technical part of it. Now that's what she's pursuing in college as a freshman this year because of that background, so.
okay.
There may be some folks we need to recognize who are really going above and beyond now, certainly including Ms. Bumps, to keep this going as we sort this out, and some folks in the community as well.
Okay. Anything else? So we're done with E now too, right? Okay, board consent agenda, there's our leave of absence, facilities use, fundraising, and field trips. Any questions regarding these?
What's up with this textbook purchase?
Textbooks, yeah. Penny,
Okay, that's the one.
yeah.
I'm skipping.
If there's not anything in regards to that, then I need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion, Ms. Wells, second by Mr. Jerker, all in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none.